And it's time for Lefties Losing It. Let's start with a young, deranged woman attacking Conservatives, David Kate and Cam Higby, and then getting maced. This is what is commonly referred to as effing around and finding out, or just instant karma.
Go home. Go home, Charlie.
I'm not going anywhere.
What was MOP
We
known
don't
for?
use physical violence. Stop.
Go. Hey. I'm stupid.
To fight anybody. We don't want to fight. Stop.
Here's the license.
Stop.
I'm stupid.
And like any good leftist, the cry bully ended up acting like the victim when faced with the consequences of her own actions.
You people maced me because you're evil and you will get what you deserve. I mark it on my face. Take videos. Take all the video you need. You're evil people. You're not Christian.
Yes, they are the evil ones, lady. Now to our favourite little climate change crazy doom goblin turned anti-Israel zealot, Greta Thunberg.
Hello, this is going to be a long video, but I have a lot to say, so bear with me.
No. Nobody's got time for a long rant from Greta. I'd rather hear what President Trump has to say about Sweden's worst export.
She's just a troublemaker, you know. I mean, she's no longer into the environment now. She's into this. She's a troublemaker. She has an anger management problem. I think she should see a doctor. She needs anger. If you ever watch her, she's a young person. She's so angry. She's so crazy. Now you can have her.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And Donald Trump should know he is responsible for Greta's finest moment. Remember when he ignored her at the UN during his first term? Look at that face. That was the day she gave that deranged "how dare you" speech. Good times. Now let's get a good old-fashioned dose of crazy from the ladies of The View. Here is Joy Behar claiming Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Homeland Security, is targeting Bad Bunny because he's Latino. And then Whoopi Goldberg helpfully recommends that folks turn up to the Super Bowl in brownface to confuse ICE agents.
Anyway, she's threatening to go to the Super Bowl when Bad Bunny is there and round up all these people that are illegal immigrants. Do you think that she would go if it was Garth Brooks or Eminem or Taylor Swift or any other white person?
Let me understand what you're saying, because she's going to go to the Super Bowl and round up. How's she going to know who's who? Everybody. Get a little cocoa butter, sit in the sun. That's the first thing. and this is the only time you can probably ever do this, give yourself a Latin accent.
You know, Whoopi, that is such a good idea.
And see if she can tell who's who.
Even the dim-witted View audience did not want to clap that lunacy. As for the claim from Joy that Kristi Noem wouldn't be doing this if Garth Brooks, Taylor Swift or Eminem were performing, well, think again, lady. All three are as left as Bad Bunny and judged accordingly. It's The View that seems to be obsessed by skin colour. And these ladies have become so desperate, so extreme, that they openly discuss their wacko theories, including one where they say Trump's law and order policies are really about a plot to end elections or distract from Democrat mega donor Jeffrey Epstein.
This is a pretext to stop the next election. That's what I think it is.
I would say it might also be a distraction from the hearing that's going on right now about the Epstein files.
Right.
Some things have come up, and AG Pam Bondi was dodging questions and attacking back.
Wackadoodles, all of them. Now to a woman whose politics make her a perfect candidate for The View. Indeed, she's so hard left, she makes Whoopi and Joy look sane. Here is MSNBC anchor Nicole Wallace. And let's be serious here for a second. What you're about to see is utterly appalling. This is misinformation and incitement dressed up as news reporting.
What we're learning about the fire that destroyed the home of a South Carolina Circuit Court judge who faced criticism from Trump officials after a ruling she made against the Trump administration. It comes amid a surge in hostility and threats against judges, as well as criticism directly from the Trump administration, including for Judge Goodstein.
Just absolutely reckless fake news, because the pertinent information is that fire was not arson. But why let that get in the way of a narrative? Let's bring in Mary McCord to add to the hysteria. She's pointing the finger at Donald Trump and alleging an act of possible domestic terrorism.
We've talked today already about crossing Rubicons, right? And when you're starting to attack judges because of their rulings, we're in a very, very dangerous position in this country. And it makes judges fearful. It makes prosecutors fearful, as we know. It makes others in positions where they could be criticized by Donald Trump fearful. And he needs to know the power of his voice and how people respond to that. We've been saying this for years, Nicole, but if this is what this turns out to be, some sort of politically motivated act of domestic terrorism, then, the importance and significance of the things that Donald Trump says about a person just, again, will be demonstrated in this instance.
Let's not forget, it's the left that are killing and trying to kill their political opponents, whether it's Charlie Kirk or Donald Trump or Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh or Republican Stephen Scalise. Even in the cases where a Democrat is attacked, it often turns out to be someone from the left, like when Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's house was set alight by a pro-Palestinian activist. Now, it's been a while since we've featured the asinine content of alleged comic John Oliver. Here he is encouraging people to harass ICE agents.
I absolutely love that woman said, "I came to bother ICE." Because that seems reasonable to me. If ICE can show up and bother some guys at their roofing job, then bystanders should be able to bother ICE at their state-sanctioned kidnapping job. It is only fair.
Joining me now is filmmaker and commentator Ami Horowitz. Ami, ICE agents are having their lives threatened. They are having to cover their faces to protect themselves and their families. And we've got a alleged comic, encouraging leftists to confront and harass these agents doing their job.
Yeah, Rita, the consent structure allowed by the mainstream media is incredible, and so allowing for these attacks to happen, I'm sorry, there is a causal relationship between what is happening here. When people look at celebrities, at the media, at people they think are within the Overton window, and they hear them speak like this, of course they're going to act in that way. And in reality, what's happening with the media is that they're actually shifting the Overton window. They're actually expanding it to allow for physical violence for politics. That's exactly what we're seeing here. This is also with judges. Kavanaugh, the person who tried to kill Kavanaugh, right? The Supreme Court Justice of the United States got sentenced to 8 years in prison. Just a couple of things that you get 8 years in prison for. Mail fraud and securities fraud in the United States typically gets 8 years in prison. Not trying to kill a Supreme Court justice. And these ICE attacks are happening all across the country. Rita, if you again indulge me for another chapter of The World According to ChatGPT, right? Sorry, I'm workshopping that name. I'll come with a better one next week. But yes, when I did my research, I asked ChatGPT, I go, how many attacks on ICE agents have we seen in 2025? That was what I asked it. And then it listed 3. And I said, that does not sound right. 3? I said, well, I witnessed one personally in Los Angeles. I said, Ami, why did you not mention attacks on ICE agents in Los Angeles? ChatGPT. You're right to point that out. There actually was an attack in Los Angeles that I missed on my earlier list. Are you kidding me? And by the way, it wasn't 4 attacks. I looked it up myself. There had been a 700% increase on ICE attacks from 2024 to 2025. There have been 79 attacks on ICE agents. This is allowed in the left-wing Democratic consent structure. This is what we're seeing here, okay? And this is not new. We saw this in BLM. But when I was a kid, the notion, the idea that you would put, forget when I was a kid, 5 years ago, that you would put a hand on a police officer, never mind a federal official, was pure insanity. But then when we allowed BLM riots to go on, and we allowed them to light cop cars on fire, this is the end result. This is what we're seeing now.